So probably just wait an extra minute or so for anyone else who's going to join us. But for everyone else who's here, it's totally fine that you leave your camera off. What I would say is just try and get yourself nice and comfortable. If you're at home and you're hopefully sitting on a chair, if it's one of the computer chairs that kind of moves around, if you're able to make it stay still, then try and do that just so that you don't twist, but don't stress too much if you don't have the option. And then you just want to make sure you're nice and comfortable and that your feet are nice and firmly planted on the ground. So wherever your chair is, again, just make sure you're not too high up. You want to make sure your feet are nice and flat and your knees are a roughly 90-degree angle. So that's past. What do you think, Darren? Should we give it an extra minute or two, or should we just get started?
Give it 30 seconds. Yeah, and anybody wants to get a last-minute cup of tea or glass of water in the next, if you can get that done in the next 30 seconds, to a minute. There's always one or two people which come on at 8:30, and then it seems to take a minute to load up and everything. So yeah, I think another minute won't hurt. And I just want to embarrass Angela further and celebrate my candle, which Angela, I got home from work on Friday. Been a really tough week actually last week. We've got the conference to sort out and stuff. Really busy week. Absolutely knackered. To find an Amazon parcel, which is unusual in our house because my wife normally has all of the Amazon. They know her by first name and everything in this house, the Amazon lady. But for me, and I opened it up, and it was a lovely candle from Angela Gallagher, just to say thank you for working with her this last week on some stuff. It really, I was feeling quite chuffed actually. So it's a crackling candle. Let's see how that works.
Well deserved, Darren, but that's twice you've embarrassed me.
I know. Really lovely gesture, really. And my son had just come home from university, from working in Leicester, and he was like, "Oh my God, that's great, that Dad." So well done by all. I think.
And is it crackling? Have you lit it now?
Yes. Can you hear it?
Yes.
I knew it burnt me ears then. Right, I think so. Next week, just to let you know, next week we're back to myself, and it'll be meditation. And next week we're going to do something called Metabolic meditation, which in Buddhist metta is it's a word that means appreciation or love, or just showing, just saying to somebody, I really love you. In many ways it could be interpreted actually. Some of these things don't interpret very well, but metta is about showing thanks or appreciation, I guess, is a good way of putting it, for someone else and their merit. And so we're going to be doing that next week. It is quite a thoughtful meditation. I think Angela's done it with me once, which can provoke some good thoughts, but can certainly get you searching a little bit more than just counting your breath, which is also fantastic as well. So that'll be me next week. And yeah, I'm going to hand over to Kerry now, who's going to take us through some of this and some of
that. Exactly. Oh, thanks, Darren. So yeah, for those of you who maybe didn't get a chance to join us last time, I'll just give a quick explanation of what we're going to do this morning. So we'll do some gentle chair yoga exercises, and really the focus here, so don't worry if you feel like you've never done yoga before. There's nothing nothing too strenuous. We're going to be staying in a chair and just doing some gentle movements. And really the main focus of this is, what we want to do is really connect the movement with the breath. So we really want to connect the body and breath. So I'll explain just now, but we'll talk through it. So don't worry if it's not sinking in at the moment. But what we'd like to do is frame the movement with the breath. So for example, we might start breathing in and then start to move all the way through the breath, and then stop just when you're about to take your last sip of air, and then Next time we'll breathe out, and you'll start to breathe out and then start to move, and then finish the movement as you finish your breath. Okay, so that's the gist of it. For those of you who were with us when I did my last session 2 weeks ago, I introduced what we call a 3-part breath, or a full yogic breath, and it was really just introducing and reminding us how to breathe with the entirety of our lungs. We have a tendency, especially when we're feeling a little bit stressed, to breathe up into our chest rather than breathing using our full diaphragm and breathing using our full lungs. So we did an exercise the last time where we really focused just on that 3-part breath. So I will introduce that very quickly at the beginning, just to give you a feel for it. But for anyone who wasn't here, don't worry about that too much. Just try and take nice deep breaths, and really focus on, just to clarify, we want to breathe in through the nose if we can. So before we start, if you want to take a little second to blow your nose, or just get yourself comfortable, then that's good. Yeah, and one thing I want to make clear as well is that we don't want, at any point, we don't want to be feeling out of breath or breathless or panicky. If you get to that point, then what I would suggest in this session today, we're going to work on elongating the breath. I'm going to do some counting with you. So if you get to the point where you feel like you're starting to panic a little bit, just pause and go back down 1 count, okay? So I'll remind you of that as we're going through. But this is all about helping us relax. So yeah, we definitely don't want to be feeling anxious at any point. And it is really difficult when you haven't done exercises like this before. It can be quite confusing. You know, breathing is something we do obviously all day, every day, and you know, it's obviously it's a habit, but learning how to do that differently can be a little bit confusing for us. So as I say, if you're feeling a little bit, if it makes you feel a little bit anxious at any time, just relax, don't stress out. You don't need to stretch it too far. Okay. Does anyone have any questions before we start? Great. Okay. So we'll start with some gentle movements, as I mentioned. I'm just going to turn to the side so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just starting with a nice inhale. We're going to just direct the chest forward and maybe look up towards the sky, having your hands on your knees. And then as you exhale, you can tuck the tailbone under, and then maybe looking towards your belly, breathing all the air out. Inhale, pushing the heart forward, maybe looking up towards the sky. And exhale, tucking the tailbone under, looking towards the belly button. Inhale, bending the heart forward, looking up. And exhale, tucking the tailbone under. And just doing that a few more times at your own pace. So maybe your breath is a little bit faster this morning. In that case, you can make the movement faster. Or maybe you're feeling super calm and your breath is nice and slow this morning. So as I said, just frame the movement with the breath. And on the next inhale, come back to center. Let's just sit up nice and straight here. We'll just release any tension we might have in the shoulders. So this time on an inhale, I want you to pull your shoulders all the way up to your ears. Really, really tense them. And then on the exhale, just drop your arms right down, just release. You can even make a sigh if you like. So inhale, squeezing those shoulders all the way up to the ears. And exhale, release. Inhale, squeezing the shoulders up. And exhale, release. This time on the inhale, we're going to take our arms out to the side and up towards the sky, bringing them together. And on the exhale, we can bring our hands down the center towards the heart Inhale. Bring your arms out to the side and bring them up to meet. And on the exhale, bringing them down to your heart. Do that just a few more times. And just imagine your arms are like extensions of your lungs. So as you extend your arms out, just notice if you can breathe any more air in. And as you bring them in, you exhale, you let all of the air go. Inhaling, bringing the arms out. And exhaling, bringing them down to center. Do that one more time. Taking a nice big breath, really extending the arms out on the inhale. And exhale, bringing them to meet and bringing them down through center. Okay. Now we'll just move into the breathing exercise here. So as I say, I'll just recap the 3-part breath, just to help everyone maybe get a feeling for that. So I'd like you to put your both hands on your lower rib cage, okay? And what we're going to do is, as I mentioned, it's 3-part breath. So we're going to take in 1/3 of our breath on the lower rib cage. Then we move our hands up kind of to the middle and we'll take another 1/3 of the breath. And then we move our hands up to the chest and we take the final breath there, and then we exhale nice and slowly. Okay, so you can do that with me now. So inhale, 1/3 of the breath in the lower lungs, move the hands up, inhale here, move the hands up, inhale, and exhale, letting it go. Hands on the lower ribs, inhale, moving up, inhale a little bit more, moving up again, inhale, and then exhale, fully hold the breath out nice and slowly. Hands on the lower ribs, inhale, middle, inhale, top of the chest, inhale, and exhale, making sure you release all the breath before your next inhale. Just do that one more time. So hands on the lower ribs, inhale, middle, inhale, the chest, inhale, and exhale, letting it all go. And you can place your hands on your knees or wherever is comfortable. Now try and remember that breath, breathing in all the way to the lower lungs, the middle, and the chest, and exhaling slowly and deeply. Now just try and settle into your own rhythm here. So inhaling deeply into the base of the lung and all the way up to the chest. And then on the exhale, releasing and trying to keep the inhale and the exhale around the same length. So you can maybe start to count for yourself. Maybe inhaling for 2 or 3 and exhaling for the same amount. Take a few more breaths here. Just counting for yourself and just noticing how you feel. Notice the feeling of your feet pressing into the ground as you inhale. And exhaling for the same amount of time. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start a metronome. So this is just going to count a breath for us, or it's going to count for us. And what I'd like us to do, I'm going to start this and let's just make sure we can all hear it. Can you hear that okay? Perfect. Okay. So let's try continuing that breath And what I'd like to do is if everyone can try and start with 4 counts. Okay, so inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. I'm going to let you continue to count that by yourself. And again, if you can just try and make sure you take a full breath in those 4 counts. Might feel like you're rushing it a little bit. On the inhale, we really fill up the entire lung. And make sure you let go of all of the air on the exhale before you take your next inhale. Connecting with that count of 4. If you're feeling comfortable with that, what I'll invite you to do is extend the count now. So we'll move up to inhaling for 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Continue counting in your head. Take 2 more breaths in and out to the count of 5. And on the next inhale, let's try to elongate that to 6. Inhaling for 6. And on the exhale for 6, releasing all the breath out, squeezing all that air out. And you inhale, remember to inhale into the lower lungs, the middle, and then the chest. And if you're feeling comfortable with the breath at 6 beats, then try to extend up to 7. Remember, if you're feeling anxious or breathless, then you can either stay where you are or drop down to the breath below. On the next inhale, if you're comfortable and you want to take it a little bit further, you can try moving up to 8 counts. So in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continuing to breathe nice and deeply. And trying to make the breath nice and fluid. So nice, smooth breath, taking an equal amount of air through the entire breath. Starting to gain an understanding for the capacity of your lungs. Breathe in for 8 and breathe out for 8. You're there. If you're feeling comfortable with that, you can move up to 9 now on the next inhale. But don't worry if you feel like you need to pause there. Just you can stay at 8 or stay wherever you were, or you can even drop down to the one before. Just noticing what it feels like. Fully expand the lungs. And remembering to squeeze all the air out on the exhale, releasing everything before you start the next inhale. If you'd like to move up to 10, this will be the last one we do before we start moving it back down. So feel free, if you're feeling comfortable, to count in for 10 and exhale for 10, or just staying wherever you are, wherever you're comfortable. Just focusing on taking a nice, full, deep, even breath throughout the whole one. Taking one last deep breath here. And if you're counting to 10 on the next inhale, let's start dropping that down. So come back down to 9 breaths. 9 counts. So breathing in for 9. And exhale for 9. Inhale. Exhale, releasing. Inhale for 9. And if you were at a lower count, you can just continue at the count you were until we meet you. On the next inhale, you can drop that down again. So if you're on 9, let's come down to 8 count. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Take one more here. And exhale fully for 8. This time, let's inhale for 7. And exhale for 7. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, count to 7. And exhale. One more at 7. And on your next inhale, let's reduce that to 6. So inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, filling the entire lung. And exhale, just regulating as we move back down. Can feel a bit strange as we change the count, so don't worry, that's normal. Just try and return to taking that full breath through 6 counts and exhaling everything to 6 beats. Take one more breath here at 6. And exhale for 6. And let's drop to 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Exhale, hold the air out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Take one more here. Exhale for 5. And let's drop to 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. Exhale. And still trying to fill up the entire lung on the inhale and release all of the air on the exhale. Taking one more inhale and exhale to the count of 4. And now just releasing that Stay with your eyes closed and just let the breath go. And just start to breathe normally. And just take a second to notice how you feel. You can maybe scan through your body, starting at the head, the neck. It's maybe while no one's looking and your eyes are closed, you can even just try and stretch your jaw. We hold a lot of tension in our jaw. You can stretch it open and wiggle it around. Might look a bit silly, but it's a really good thing to do to release tension. And then just moving down your body, just noticing how you feel. The shoulders, your back. Feel your sit bones connecting with the chair. Your hands are on your legs. Maybe you can just give your knees or your thighs a little bit of a squeeze. Just start to come back into your body. Noticing your feet on the earth. Keeping your eyes closed if you can bring your hands together and just start to rub them really, really fast to build up some heat. And once you feel your palms are nice and warm, just put them over your eyes. And then you can slowly and gently start to bring your hands away from your eyes as you blink your eyes open. And just gently, you can let the light back in. Okay. Thank you, everyone. So thank you so much for joining. I know that can be a little bit tricky sometimes, counting the breath. For those of you who have somewhere to be, that's 9 o'clock or 1 minute past 9. But if you don't have something pressing straight away, then please go ahead if you have any questions or if you want to share how you found that. I'll open it up.
We got to go back to other meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Just my team are disappearing off there, but I pinched me back at the weekend. That's done me the world of good, I would honestly say.
Oh, good. That's great. Yeah, sometimes I think like really gentle movements and just breathing into it sometimes, breathing into wherever you've got a little bit of pain can be really effective. So I'm really glad that helped.
I was probably a bit tight, knowing that I had a pinch in my back, and I feel like I'm not saying I feel like I run a marathon right now. That's a long way off, but I certainly do feel much better for that. Thank you very much for that, guys. All right, thank you. Well, we should dive away now. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining, Pete. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Bye now.
Thanks, Pete. Bye.
So I was going to say, I was going to ask a question actually. I struggled with the length of breath.
Yeah.
I think I struggled with 7 and didn't really go back up to that. Does that get, with practice, does that get easier, I suppose?
Yeah, definitely. As I say, it's something that we don't do too often, but there's loads of different factors as well, Angela. I mean, everyone, like for example, women have smaller lungs than men. You know, everyone has a different lung capacity, but then also it depends on how much you're using them. I've done loads of really intense breathing exercises, and after a while, it's weird. It's like you've got so many of these little passageways in your lungs, and actually, when we don't breathe deeply all the time, they can kind of like close up because we're not using them, so they don't need to. But yeah, they really do start to open. I actually sometimes get to the point, I can go extreme with it, but I get to the point where I can literally feel these little like passageways open up. It can be a bit intense. So yeah, don't go too far too fast, but definitely if you practice that, then yeah, definitely that will expand with time. But just don't put too much pressure on it, is what I'd say. It's just about the most important thing is regulating it and keeping your breath nice and calm and fluid. And once you start with that, then you know, yeah, it will definitely improve over time.
I'm not sure whether Gavin's going to say something, but the other thing I was going to say was I really found the spreading the arms out. I'm not sure whether that opens the lungs a little bit easier.
Yeah.
I found that an easier breathing than the other one.
Good. Yeah, definitely.
If you ever go running or anything, and if you ever get short of breath, one of the easiest things to get oxygen and is to lift your rib cage up and do this.
Right. Yeah.
Breathing it opens all this up, Andrew. So you're right. This movement lifts, it opens all this area up to taking more breath.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you think about it, we actually breathe. You think about the muscles we use to breathe. We use our diaphragm, and we use all of these muscles around about the lungs. So definitely, yeah, doing any movements where you really sort of open up the chest, definitely helps you breathe better. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that.
You know, when you get up first thing in the morning and you do that what you've just done, is that like a sign of it as well?
When you are you just saying you do that naturally?
Yeah, when you get up first thing in the morning and you go, oh, like that, is that?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
No, that's good. Well, it's good if you're doing that because it means your body's doing what it needs to do. Yeah, definitely. I found it interesting when I started doing yoga, and there were some postures that they would teach me, and I'm like, oh, I used to just do that. You know, when I was standing at school and I had a sore back, I used to stand in this position, and and everyone thought I was weird, but actually, your body kind of does know what it needs to do to feel better. It knows how to breathe, and honestly, it's our society kind of teaches us that we're supposed to sit still in a chair and not fidget and not do all this stuff, but actually we should be moving. So it doesn't need to be going to a yoga class, but like literally I have a wiggle all the time, like just moving things about, and the more you do that, the more open you feel, and the more you start to notice these things. So if you ever feel like you need to stretch, always stretch.
Well, they did a thing. So I don't know if you've ever seen the African tribes, they go into battle, which is not a great thing being a pacifist, but when they go into the battle, they jump up and down on the spot. And one of the things that they proved is actually it's just getting the blood pumping. Movement gets blood and oxygen around your body and psychs you up as well, and sort of gets you going. So, you wouldn't go into battle, if you like, for want of a better phrase, just sat there going, right, I better go now. So yeah, doing this Gab is getting ready, isn't it? Sorry, Andrew.
It's a bit like the New Zealand hackers, isn't it? Rugby.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly what they're doing is getting psyched up, isn't it?
And there's that's interesting. Speaking of the hackers, it's one thing I've never noticed before, but there's another yogic breathing technique called lion's breath, where you just go and stick your tongue out. It's the exact same, and that one is a really heating one. So there's ones that calm you down, and then there's different ones. I'm just trying to do kind of beginners ones that are more regulating, just keep us in a nice balance. But you can do breathing techniques that really calm you down or that really energize you, and that's one of those that's interesting. That it's obviously used.
I've got a question, Kerry, actually, because I'm learning. Obviously, I've not done any of this before, so I've done a lot of breathing, but I haven't done this counting up. So actually, when I was going upwards, I'm thinking, oh, another one, but I did it. But then when I'm coming back down, I actually found it harder with the 4 and 5 than I did at 10. That was strange. Yeah.
I found that when I started doing these techniques as well, and I was getting really annoyed at my yoga teacher. I'm like, why are you making me make my breath slower? And I'm getting really agitated because I had been focusing a lot. I'd been doing loads of really, really calming breaths, but actually, what I realized is that when I did too many calming breaths, well, then you're in this really sedate place. And that's really nice if all you need to do is calm down. But if you actually need to go and do your work or get up and speak to someone or if you've got things to do, actually you want to bring it back down a little bit. But the other thing it's good for is just it's learning how to regulate it, so you can bring it up, you can bring it down. And once you've done that for a little while and you realize that you can actually control it, then you can start to control it at a moment's notice. So I can be somewhere and I'm like, whoa, I'm feeling really stressed out right now, and I'll just be like, okay, I'll take a really nice, slow, deep breath. And the longer I've been doing these exercises, the easier I find that, but also the other way. So if I'm like feeling a bit tired and spaced out and I'm like, I need to do something, then I'll maybe start to speed up my breath a little bit. But that comes with time. That's not, yeah. But it's just good to teach yourself that you can regulate it and that you can control it. Because I think we just breathed unconsciously all the time. So
it was good, really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Really
I
enjoyed
did too. Brilliant, brilliant.
yes, glad. Well, I'll put this back up again. So I'll record. I didn't manage to get last week's up, but I'll get this week's up as well and put them on save. So if anyone ever wants to do it again, then they'll be on tape as well.
Thank you,
Brilliant.
Kerry.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thanks. See you soon. Take care.
Bye.